Hey guys, it's me, Chaos Link. Konnichiwa, my Exerians and Hylians. Now, for today's video, you can probably see already here in the foreground that I have a box. And I have a new thing. This is called a back plate, or a shoulder plate that I call it. And what I plan to do is stick this onto here because I'm trying to make an enemy of sorts out of certain materials that I could definitely use without any complications. I don't know what to name the enemy yet, but you stick this onto here with hot glue, which is what I'm gonna do. So let's get into that. Now all I'm gonna do is just grab my glue gun. You want to grab these first of all and make sure you have them at the right angle. Just a little bit of glue. Don't use too much if you're on a short supply. You just need enough to make this symbol on it, okay? And do the same thing for the other side. Because if you do it on only one side, it's gonna be like a game of Jenga. It's not gonna work how you want it to be. And you want it to work how it's gonna be for you. And now you just press lightly on it, okay? Just press lightly on it until it all solidifies. If you get some on your fingers like this while it's solidifying, then that's fine. It's not going to burn you unless you touch it excessively. And what I'm doing right here in the middle is getting rid of any strings. I call these spider strings because they look kind of like spider webs. They're the tiny strings that connect from glue post to other glue posts. And once that is already hardened and solidified, you just have to leave it resting for a while, and we'll work on our other component, which I'll get from a bag over here. So I got our other components, which is just still cardboard, but they're boards. You know why? Because I am bored. Anyways, what we're gonna do is, you see how this upper piece right here has a little notch type of looking thing where there's two boards here? We're gonna need to find a board and cut it carefully to where it also fits here. Now what I found out though is that you have some flexible pieces like this. You don't want that. You want a solid piece like this sort of thing. Now just find a random board that roughly fits. It doesn't need to be exact. It's okay if a little bit sticks out because, well, you're gonna be hitting this thing as far as you need to know. So yeah. So you want to find an evil leveling. Just test out a bunch of boards if you want. There's no rush with this one. See, there you go. You got a nice one. And if it has holes like this, you can easily carry it like this then, if in the future you want to carry it. So we're gonna do that real quick. So we're just gonna, I need another glue stick real quick. Hold on. Come on. Okay, there we go. Okay, now there we go. Just easy application. Make sure to get a good nice glob of it. And then there you go. Another nice big helping of glue, but just to be safe, I'm gonna reload the glue gun and carefully apply a little bit more on that side. Now you just place this here and hold it down, because for this you want it to spread like in a sandwich, how you spread jelly. So you want to squeeze it tightly but not too tight, and hold it there until this no longer feels warm. It doesn't have to be cold, it just has to be not warm, which might take a while depending on who. I have a little board here. This is so this could actually go to this. I'm not good at explaining, so try to figure out what I meant by that. But what I do know is that we're gonna slowly have to add in some glue to make it stick together, okay? Because if it doesn't stick together, then you're just having a laugh, and you don't want to have a laugh. You want to have a very precise type of movement when making your creatures, because otherwise you could pretty much get rid of everything that you ever wanted, which in this case is making a sort of combat monster thing. Now with these boards, there is a process that you have to do to make the neck connect to the body, which I'll probably do in a bit the moment this dries up. So, okay, so now that it's closed up, I'm gonna have to add a disclaimer here because I know some of my audience is kind of young. And so if you're not a professional at holding dangerous things, and or you have certain conditions, do not do what I'm about to do. But I have a razor blade because I'm a professional idiot artist. Not a professional artist, a professional idiot artist, meaning I'm dumb enough to be trusted around art stuff because I'm careful enough. Now, does that make any sense? Probably not, but I'm safe enough to where I know what I'm doing, I know how to do this, and you should not do this unless you are an adult. So don't do what I'm doing. I'm doing this for you guys. So I have a board here, which as you saw on this, we have to have it like this with a flat bottom. We can't have any holes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few marks on this so we know where to glue specifically on the box. Because what I'm going to make is a sort of makeshift neck for this thing, because it's gonna be like one of those sitting Tommy mats that you see in sword videos, but I don't have a real sword yet, so I'm making it so I could use it with my cardboard sword, which you'll see in a few videos, and maybe I'll use it to hit a few of my my shields, which, if you don't know, I'm very, very into video games. Like, I made my manga based off of video games, I made my stuff out of video games, I do a lot of stuff out of video games. Anyways, we're gonna get into this, so don't do what I'm about to do because, like I said, I'm a professional idiot. Do not do what I'm doing unless you have adult supervision or you are an adult that is very capable of doing this without hurting yourselves. Now, it's better to do this with gloves, but I don't have any, so we're just gonna dig right in, okay? And I just dropped it. There we go. And now you're just gonna layer it on top. Not glue it, just layer it so that way you know what order the cubes are gonna go in. That way you can safely know how to measure. And a good rule of thumb is to measure with your thumb. So like per se, like how this cube is a bit too big for the previous cube, what you're gonna do is measure with your thumb on all of the sides. Not this side though, where it's closest to the thing, because that needs to be a bit bigger anyways. But you do want to measure with your thumb. Now I'm just gonna make a little bit of light marks along this. They don't have to be perfect or visible to the naked eye. As long as you can see them when you're glinting the cardboard towards you, then you know exactly where to cut and how to be safe with your cuts. Now if you get it like this, you've seen me do this already, but you want to cut it away from your body. The bend facing away from you so you can see exactly where the line of bending is when cutting your cardboard. And there you go. You have a board that's the perfect shape right here. Boom. Now for these, do not throw these away. These could be used as reinforcements or holding places, like the pegs inside of a wood board if you're into wood carving or wood creation. And so you're just gonna measure it. With these boards you could bend it like this to figure out more solidly and then just cut where the bend is. But remember to give it a slight curve at the end, because this is not exactly straight of a bend when you bend cardboard. So just have a little bit of a curve when making that. And then cut it away from you again like this. That way you understand how you're supposed to have the line go. And the reason I'm cutting it this way is because light is coming over here where the shadow is, and so you could clearly see where to cut. If you were to do it the other way around, it would still work, but not as well, because the backside is pretty much having to be a lot brighter. So just stack it on there, and that should be a good standardized neck. So what we're going to do is take all 4 of our boards, 1, 2, 3, 4, count with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember to put that in a safe place, because we're going to now glue them onto each other. Now you want this side up if you're going to stack boards on top of them like this. You don't want it to be like this, because then this part that's supposed to be showing is going to be colorful. It's not going to be sturdy enough to actually stick to other cardboard. So just apply a little bit of glue, a few dots at the corners. That's how I usually go. And then 1 dot in the middle like a dice. And then you just plop your board right there gently, and then you press it as hard as you can. If you have a weight, use it. Like I'm gonna use the Goji bowl that I got from Master Titan, which he makes really good pottery. I don't know if you saw the jar in my last video, but this is his jar that he made for me, so I'm gonna be doing that. And you just want to hold it for like roughly 5 minutes, which in total this should take 20 minutes, because 5 times 4 is 20. So 20 minutes total for it to dry completely, and so you know how it's going to be stable. So then I'm just going to take my next board, because this is still warm, but the warmness doesn't affect me since I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing. So we're just gonna glue it again. This time I'm gluing the bright side because this one has a little bit of roughness. I sand down the bright side on this. So you're just gonna have to place it like that very carefully. And you never want to slam it down like that. Never do that, because that will cause dents in your cardboard and your construction will be slightly tampered with to where it's not going to last as long as you want it to be. And so that's very important. And now all you're trying to do is make this stay together. And now we have our last board, which we're going to be doing this with it. So I have this, but what I'm going to do is actually score it a little bit to give it a rough texture so we know for sure the glue is going to stick. Just peel off any bits that are able to be peeled off. Okay, now that we got it all dried, we're gonna put that with this. So let's go ahead and put it here. Now I know what you're thinking, Link, how are you gonna make it stabilize because this is bent? First of all, that sounds peaceful, so don't tell me that. And second of all, I don't care if this attaches to this because it's supposed to be like this, where this is the base, this is just the back of the thing, so it has a little bit of stability when it's in the wind. And this is going to be the actual thing that I hit. Like I said, this is going to be a floating tatami mat thingy. So I don't need this to touch this. I just need this to be stable to where it could hold its own weight. This is gonna take days due to how much cardboard I have, which is not a lot, so I do have to wait for supply shipments. But either way, I don't need this to stick to this. I just need this to stay here and be solid, okay? And I have this little hole so I could grab it and lift it wherever I need to, okay? Or I could grab it from the underside, though the underside is more like if you have a small version, which I'm making a big version, which is why I have a big coin slot here so I could grip it properly. Okay, look, big coin slot for like heavy tatami mats made out of cardboard that I'm making, and this is for a small one that like you would use for your nephew or your kids or whatever. Obviously, you could have this as like a family project or something if you want to. Be like, hey kids, let's make a tatami mat real quick. Let's do something. I don't know. You could seriously do this with your family. Now, anyways, we're gonna glue the back. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit of stickiness. You don't want that. That's bad. That's gonna mess up your art. So what you're gonna do is safely take your blade, have it flat on the surface of the glue board, and just carefully shimmy your way towards it. Now once you make a little flap, you're gonna pinch it with your 2 fingers and pull it out exactly like this. Just carefully, very closely peel it off until you get rid of all that excess glue that was stuck on it. Now you have a clean board. And with the bright side of the board, you're going to put it here onto the bottom of this. So what I'm going to do is put this carefully to the side, move my excess pieces, put this here, and glue it. So I'm going to show you a once-in-a-lifetime, very careful example of how I do it, okay? So you make a Z, the letter Z, and then you put 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, and 4 dot, and then 5 dot. And then afterwards, you stick it very carefully, making sure to press down on it tight but not too tight. And again, you could use a weight, but I prefer not to, because this has a technical flexibility in it due to the fact that there's a little gap right here to grab the tatami mat. So what I'm going to do is just have my hands press very lightly but very firmly on both sides until it gets stable. So yeah. And now that we have the base for our tatami mats, we're gonna make the actual part that you need to hit, which, like I said, it could take me up to a few days because I don't have a lot of materials. So what I do have is these little boards and pieces. Now what I could do is make a bunch of boards out of these little pieces, or out of these big pieces, so I can make smaller pieces. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, now that we have that situated, what you're gonna want to do is clean your boards. What that means is you're gonna have it at a certain angle and just trim off any of the sides that you don't want, like that. And just do that for all the sides. Though for some, it might not be as clean of an angle as you'd like it. And that's fine, you don't need perfect. You just need it to be good enough. Now you just want to be very careful with your blade still until you get all of your boards nice and clean cutted. Okay? Okay, nope, that was bad. That was bad. Okay, definitely can't show that on video. Ooh, that's a little bit of a good burn. Damn. That got me a lot. Okay. It's fine though, we're not going to be a little baby about it. Now, what I'm planning on doing for a few of my pieces, is grafting. Now, this is where you cut slices of different cardboards to match the orientation of the base. So what that does is lets you do this. So like we're going to place this here, we're going to graft it there. So just bloop, 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 bloop. Be very careful not to get your fingers. Remember, you want your fingers to be safe. And so there you go. You press down a bit. And while that's cooling down, you can work on your other piece. So like this. And then go like this. And that's about it. That's where these come in. Because you see how this is marked like this? You can easily bend it like a book. And then instead of this, you grab this, which you could also use. But this, I only use it for strips like these. So just gonna carefully go like that and that. And then put that away, and then this. There you go. Now what I have here is a little bag of different little brands, and so what I like to do is put this in here so I could use it as different little grafting pieces for later on. And so usually I have this in the background of my videos. Sayonara for today's video, and hope you like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment down below whatever was confusing for you or if you have any ideas, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.